At last, a video! So Cal, as you may remember, long ago when the leaves were still in the trees and the days were long and sunny, I told you that I was going to make a video about something you said several months ago now, although not many videos ago. And to refresh your memory, you asked me why I didn't want you showing the Buffy video to other people despite the fact that I had posted it publicly to the internet, which is a place where people can see things, and two, you genuinely seem to like the video. And not to get Freudian, but it kind of comes down to ego and identity. See, part of my identity for as long as I've been playing the guitar has been guy who plays the guitar and does not sing, particularly not in front of other people. So once we've got it in our heads that that's the kind of person we are, it's pretty hard to break out of that identity even if we actually legitimately want to, which I kind of do, believe it or not. But of course there's a risk involved. I mean, if you're a person who never makes music and you decide to make a song, people say, hey, that was pretty good for a person who doesn't really make music all the time. But then if you say, hey, I'm going to make music, I'm going to be a musician, and then people start judging you not as a person who doesn't do much music, but as a musician. And for some ridiculous reason, it's that little tiny step of moving to a different category that is really scary. And I think it's a lot easier when you're in college, because people ask, what do you do? And you say, well, I'm a college student, which is sort of code for, it doesn't really matter what I do because I'm a college student, I'm still becoming something else. So even if you work 40 hours a week as a grocery bagger, you're a college student, you're not a grocery bagger. But then you graduate, and what do you do becomes, what do you do for a living? How do you make money? And a lot of people are really unwilling to be defined by that one thing, especially if you're in a career path that isn't entirely satisfying. But if you think about it, it's a really dumb question, because what do you do implies a whole lot of other things, not just how do you make your money. I mean, what do I do for a living? I do IT stuff. What do I do anytime else? Really not IT stuff. I'm not that into that kind of thing anymore. I mean, I still play around with stuff. Sitting next to me just off camera is a Dell that I turned into a Mac for the sake of recording this video. But it's not the only thing I would consider part of my identity. And yet when I worked in IT at the university, people would ask me, oh, you're an English major, do you want to teach? And I'd say, no, none of that. So then they'd say, oh, so what, do you write? And the obvious answer is, yes, that's what I'm going to college for. I want to learn how to become a better writer. I want to learn how to get over myself and write. And I want to have people read what I write. But that's not what I told them. I would do this sort of beat around the bush, well, maybe someday if it works out, that would be kind of cool. And I could get away with that because I was a college student. I didn't need another identity on top of that because it was sort of assumed that I was a work in progress. I think a big part of it is being afraid of being defined by these new terms that people will criticize you for. Especially a loaded term like writer. I mean, if someone says, I'm going to be a writer, you sort of have a picture in your mind. And admit it, if you ever hear someone say, I'm a creative person, you sort of want to punch them in the face. Because we're all creative people. Most of us. I think on top of that, my fear has always been that I'm going to be one of those people who identifies as a writer despite having written one story 3 years ago. I mean, at some point, ceasing to do things sort of implies that you're no longer a person who does them. I mean, I haven't played saxophone for like 3 years. I think it would be unfair to still call myself a saxophone player. Granted, I think I could pretty easily pick it back up and once again call myself that, but right now, that is not part of my identity, and it wouldn't be fair to tell people that it was. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make here is that I think we sort of forget that our identity is not a static item. It's something fluid, it's something we can change, it's something that sometimes we should change. And believe it or not, I am trying to break out of this identity. I'm trying to get somewhere else. I want to be able to stand up and say, I am a musician, I am a writer, I'm a blogger. God, I'm never going to like that word. And I want to be able to say these things without fear. I want to be able to sing in front of people. I want to be able to read stories in front of people. Oh, hell, I'll say it. I want to be a creative person. So believe it or not, despite all my complaining, I really did sort of appreciate the fact that you were sending that around to people because it meant that you did like it. Or that you were mocking me. I hope that you liked it and you weren't just mocking me. So that's really all I had to say. I'm pretty sure when I thought of the video a month and a half ago, I actually had a little more I wanted to talk about, but I don't remember it anymore. So that's going to be it. As far as video deadlines go, I think at this point it's become a fairly loose restriction, if we can call it a restriction at all. So, I guess if you want to make another video, that's cool, because I can't really judge you for being late after this one. So, yeah. I don't really know how to end this video, so, look, behind you!